It was on April 17, 1982, that the Constitution Act was signed by Queen Elizabeth II. The Constitution Act contains the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Aboriginal rights, equalization and equal opportunities, amending the Constitution, Supremacy Clause, defining of the Constitution, and the remaining sections are under the header of General. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms is a charter of political rights to the Canadian citizens and civil rights for everyone in Canada. The Charter consists of fundamental freedoms, democratic rights, the right to life and seek employment anywhere in Canada, also legal rights such as the right to life, liberty, and personal security. The Charter also has stated the equality for all, and the official languages of Canada are English and French. It also talks about the language, educational rights, and Aboriginal people's rights. Before the enactment of the Constitution, human rights were at the mercy and laws passed by the provincial and federal governments. The Charter acknowledged that everyone, regardless of color, religion, race, or belief, possesses certain fundamental rights that no government can remove without cause. The Charter also has the power to protect and expand human rights. Quebec didn't agree with the new Constitution, so they didn't sign. Quebec had two main reasons for not signing. The first was that they would lose their right to reject future constitutional changes, while the majority of other provinces could prevent any constitutional changes they didn't agree with. They also didn't agree with the minority language rights. Due to Quebec's rejection of the Constitution in 1982, Prime Minister Brian Mulroney in 1987 attempted to win Quebec's consent to the revised Canadian Constitution. The revisions would strengthen provincial powers and declare Quebec as a distinct society. This is known as the Meek Lake Accord. When the accord was first released, it was okay with the majority of the Canadians. For the accord to become law, it had to be ratified within 3 years by the Parliament and by the legislature of all 10 provinces. Despite the agreement, one member in the Manitoba government withheld his consent and the accord did not come to vote within the province. This gave the Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador an excuse to avoid bringing the accord to vote. This was one of the main factors that ensured the disintegration of the accord. Then Prime Minister Brian Mulroney tried again to attempt to win Quebec's consent of the Constitution in 1992. This was known as the Charlottetown Accord. The accord contained the Canadian Clause, federalism, native self-government, and parliamentary reform. The Canadian Clause was a set of values that defines the nature of Canadian character and political society. One of the values was the recognition of Quebec as a distinct society. The other values included equality, diversity, and other equalities of Canadian society. Federalism was the attempt to resolve long-standing disputes of division of powers between federal and provincial jurisdiction, giving the province jurisdiction over their industry and cultural policy. Federal power of reservation would have been abolished, and power of disallowance would have been limited. The accord also altered the status of Aboriginal groups in Canadian political society. The Aboriginal government with the accord would be recognized as a third order of government, alongside provincial and federal. Within the parliamentary reform, both the Senate and House of Commons were affected. Most notably, the Senate would be changed to the Triple E system. Elected members equal provincial representatives, effective powers. This meant that there would only be 6 representatives in the Senate regardless of population size. In the end, the Charlottetown Accord was defeated by the people. On October 26, 1992, around 54% of the people said no, while the other 46% said yes to the accord. With many clauses in the accord, it was easy to find faults within it. Some thought it was giving Quebec too much power, while the people of Quebec feared the Aboriginal self-government due to the large population in northern Quebec.